Hey guys, this is That Album Reviewer Guy here, reviewing yet another album. Today, I will be reviewing the new Red Jumpsuit Apparatus album, 4. This is their 4th album, and it was released on July 4th. Anyway, a couple months ago, the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus got into, a whole thing because they put up a picture on their Twitter page and they didn't give credit to the photographer, so then the photographer threatened them with legal action and whatnot. So the band basically insulted this photographer and tried to get their fans in on it. But the catch is, their fans frowned upon them from doing that. And, it just backfired on the band. So they ended up paying the guy. And, after that, the band said that all forms of art should be free on Facebook. But to change that, so it says most digital forms of art should be free. And what became of that? Well, on July 4th, they made their entire discography free on their website. I don't know if that's still a thing. I don't know if it was just for that one day or whatever. But for that one day, or maybe it's still going on, I don't know. The Red Jumpsuit Apparatus offered their entire discography for free download on their website. Now, on to 4. Well, the album opens up with a track called Grim 2.0. It's almost 9 minutes long. It opens up with a very long intro, which contains some piano as well as other just various sounds. And that leads into guitars about 2 minutes in, which is when I think the track truly begins. Then that leads into the vocals. This track features some transitions and tempo changes throughout, but it seems a bit forced to me. This track closes with a bit of a spoken word verse that goes on for about a minute or two, then it fades out with instrumentals and backing vocals. Then that goes into the next track, California, even though it just comes out of nowhere. This is more of a laid-back and upbeat track. However, it feels as though it's uninspired. No real energy or emotion in this track, if you ask me. It's a bit boring. Then The Right Direction is a driving track, and it's better than the 2 previous tracks due to the fact that it doesn't feel forced and it has more energy. So this sort of puts the album in the right direction for me. Then we move on to the next track, Who Do You Work For? This is another solid track, and it starts to give me hope on the rest of the album because this is the second track in a row I really enjoyed. Then we get on to the next track, It Was You, and it immediately reminds me of What I've Done by Linkin Park, just due to the slight piano intro and the way the lyrics were presented at first. However, as the song progressed, the similarity between these 2 songs became less and less apparent. Then the next track, You're the Mockingjay, changes the feel of the album as it opens with a heavy guitar intro, which then leads into the vocals, and they're being backed by some fairly heavy instrumentals as well. This is another track that doesn't really click with me for some reason. Then we get into Not My Style. This gets me back in the album after the last couple of tracks, and this is another track that interests me mostly because of the message, due to the fact that it is an anti-suicide song. However, I also like the lyrics and the instrumentals. Then the next track, Ignorance is Bliss, opens with the line, Hold on tight, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen, from the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Then it leads into some fairly heavy instrumentals, which lead into the lyrics. This track may be heavy and aggressive, but it's just another one that doesn't really click with me. Other Side is not nearly as aggressive as the previous track. As a matter of fact, it's not aggressive at all. It's a much softer track. The guitars give a little bit of a heavier vibe every now and then, but the album is the song is fairly mellow, and it's a decent track but nothing too special. Then I Know Right opens with a pretty grooving intro, which then goes into a mainly bass-driven verse with some mellow guitars. This track reminds me of another one that I heard before, but I can't think of which one. I'm gonna have to move my camera setup. Sorry guys, had to move it for a bit. Then we get into the final track, JIMRS, Stars. And, you know, nice harmonization, bit softer track. And, you know, it's a solid soft track to end the album with. Flow on this album is absolutely terrible. I mean, it just goes from one vibe to another. And, you know, the song is just like, stop, has a 2 or 3 second pause, and it goes on to the next one. And, you know, most of this album feels uninspired. Little energy and quite a few of the tracks, which is not really good. Favorites? Not my style, for one. And drawing a blank. Wow, I forgot everything I just said. Anyway, yeah. Favorites, I said, not my style. The 3rd and 4th track on the album. I'll put them names in the description. I apologize for my forgetfulness and that I had to move my camera setup. Because my grandma just came out of the living room. I don't want her to be in the video. And least favorites, we have the opening 2 tracks, Grim 2.0 and California. I'm sorry to say, this album gets a 5 out of 10. I like some of the older stuff in the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, but I didn't really like this as much. It just seemed like generic post-hardcore to me. That's about all I have to say about this album. Like me on Facebook, like, comment, and subscribe. Check the description for favorites and least favorites and all that, which I'm not going to do in every video, but since, you know, I just blanked out in this one, I'll do it for this one. That's about all I have to say. Oops. ThatAlbumReviewerGuy, signing off.